أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين واللعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. Respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the previous discussion, we started discussing the laws regarding prayers. And we said that there are a number of obligatory prayers. We mentioned 6 kinds of them. The first one was the obligatory prayers that is said 5 times a day, which is the morning prayers, Fajr, and then the Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha. These are the 5 prayers, the daily prayers that should be said by each and every Muslim in the state of Tahara 5 times a day. And with respect to prayers, I said, and it has been mentioned in thousands of narrations, in thousands of ahadith, that we must not take prayers lightly, right? We must perform them in correct order, and we must learn the laws. It's obligatory to learn the laws that are that one might get. That means one should learn those laws that are useful for a person. It's obligatory to learn the useful laws for each and every one. So also the prayers, if they are to be said in a correct manner, we should learn the laws of prayers. And it's really important that one does not take his prayers lightly. Because as it was mentioned in the narration that I read yesterday, it was if the prayer is accepted, the other acts of worship will be accepted. And if the prayer of a person, if salat, the namaz, is not accepted, then no other act of worship will be accepted. In qubilat qubila ma siwaha wa in ruddat, if the prayer is not accepted, rudda ma siwaha, all other acts of worship will also not be accepted. And this is the reason that when it comes to the time of prayers, one should be certain, one should be in a state of yaqeen. He should be absolutely sure that the time of prayer has set in, and then only will he be permissible for him to start his prayers. And without investigating, without looking at the specific time chart, that when does the time of a specific prayer start and when does it end, when is the time of the Dhuhr prayers and when does it end, and similarly Maghrib, Isha and the morning prayers. It's really important. So one should investigate and one should attain the condition of yaqeen. He should be certain. Only then will he be able, will it be permissible for him to enter his prayers. Otherwise, this person will not be regarded as a musalli. His prayers will not be accepted. Taking them lightly, saying them any time without investigating about the time, before the adhan and after when the time finishes, and so on. So these things, they must be taken care of. So this is the first mas'ala regarding the time of the prayers. The other mas'ala is that sometimes what happens is that the time of prayers is too short. For example, take the example of the morning prayers, which is 2 rakat, right? Now, if someone says those prayers quickly, now take the example that the time of the sunrise is 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. That means we should have finished our prayers before 6 a.m. And now someone, he woke up at 5:56. He woke up at 5:56 and then he performed his wudu and then he started his prayers at 5:58. Now he has only 2 minutes to say these prayers. Now if he performs all the recommended and the other acts in his prayers, he will not be able to complete his prayers in its specific time. So here he's got only 2 minutes to finish his prayers because he woke up late and then after performing wudu, he had only 2 minutes. So here he should say his prayers without the recommended things. Like what? One of the recommended things is qunut. Qunut, which is said in the second rak'at after the second surah is recited, after reciting Hamd, and then another surah, Qul huwallahu ahad, and then you say the qunut. Right? Now this qunut is recommended. It's not obligatory. It's not wajib to say the qunut. So here in this case, when a person is he is short of time in this condition, he should omit the qunut. He should not say the qunut. Rather, he will go into ruku and then into sujood. He will perform the ruku and then perform the sajda. And similarly, other acts like what? Like adhan or saying the iqamah. These are all recommended things. Now the person is short of time, and there is obviously a shortage of time. In 2 minutes, one cannot say the prayers with adhan and iqamah and a complete prayer with all the recommended things and all. Right? So in this condition, one should not say those recommended things. Why? Because if he follows all the recommended things, if he says all the recommended acts, what will happen? That he will be finishing his prayers after the specified time. So here he should omit those acts. He should omit those qunut or other things. Like what? Like after when we stand from ruku, like when we go to ruku, and then when we stand, what do we say? We say Sami Allahu liman hamida. Now instead of saying Sami Allahu liman hamida, one can only say Allahu Akbar, or one can only stand and then go to the sajda. That will be okay. Why? Because saying Sami Allahu liman hamida or saying Allahu Akbar, not the first one, Takbiratul Ihram, is obligatory. Other than Takbiratul Ihram, all other Allahu Akbars that we say during our prayers, they are all recommended. They're all recommended. The first time when we say Allahu Akbar after performing the niyyah, that's obligatory. That is known as Takbiratul Ihram, and we will be mentioning them inshallah. But all other Allahu Akbar, all other takbir, other than the first one, all of them they are recommended. So if there is a shortage of time, one can omit all these recommended acts and should only perform the obligatory things, so that he be able to finish his prayers in the specified time. He be able to finish his prayers before 6 in the morning in our example. So this should also be taken care of in the daily prayers when a person is short of time. Now, as we said that one must perform the Asr prayers and the Dhuhr prayers in order. Asr first Dhuhr and then Asr. And after that Maghrib and then Isha. It's not permissible to say the Isha prayers before the Maghrib prayers. So if someone intentionally performs Dhuhr before Asr or Isha before Maghrib, his prayers will be deemed as invalid. Those prayers are invalid and they will not be accepted. He needs to say the Isha prayer again after performing the Maghrib, or he needs to say the Asr prayers again after performing the Dhuhr. Okay. Now if a person starts to perform prayers with the intention of the Dhuhr prayers, and while performing the Dhuhr prayers he realizes that he has already performed the Dhuhr prayers, now what he will do? In this condition he will not change the intention. Please pay attention to this. Yesterday we discussed a point. We said that if someone starts by mistake, unintentionally starts performing his Asr prayers before the Dhuhr, then what will the person do? And then before he finishes the prayers, he comes to remember that he has not performed the Dhuhr prayers. So what he will do? He will change his intention and he will say, all that I performed and all that I'm performing and all that I will perform is Dhuhr. It's not Asr anymore. So he will change the intention. But today what we're discussing, we are saying that someone started his Dhuhr prayers, and while he was praying, while he was saying the Dhuhr prayers, in between he came to remember that he had already performed the Dhuhr prayers, and what he should perform was what? Was Asr. So in this condition, what will the person do? He will not change the niyyah, he will not change the intention, but he will break his prayers and will start the Asr prayers. He cannot change his intention to the Asr prayers, but he will break his prayers and perform the Asr prayers. And similarly with Maghrib and Isha, if someone starts his Maghrib prayers and then in between his prayers he remembers that I've already performed my Maghrib prayer. Now he will not be allowed to change his intention. But what he will be doing, he will break his prayers because he has already performed the Maghrib prayers, and then will start with the Isha prayers. I hope the mas'ala is clear. So this was regarding the specific things and the sequence and the order that should be maintained between these two. This was a mas'ala that was not discussed in the previous discussion, so and it was an important mas'ala, so it has been discussed now. Now coming on to the later part of our discussion, which is the laws regarding the holy month of Ramadan. What were we discussing? We were discussing the things, the acts in which only kafara is required, and the last, only qada is required and no kafara is obligatory. The last law that we mentioned was regarding gargling, that is to circulate water inside one's mouth. And we said that if one wants to circulate water inside his mouth, first of all, doing this a number of times is disapproved. It's makruh. This is the first thing. And the second thing is, even if it does this, then he must spit before swallowing the saliva. Obviously, the water that is present in his mouth, he will spit it. And now he is fit to swallow the saliva which is in his mouth. But the recommended precaution says that one must spit 3 times and then should swallow the saliva which is in his mouth. So this was the last mas'ala we mentioned. Now regarding a few laws, now we'll be discussing a few laws regarding the qada fast, the fast that should be made up. We must make up a few fasts. Now for example, if a person is traveling in the holy month of Ramadan and he travels, and of course it's obligatory on a person who travels not to fast. He will not be fasting. Someone who travels for less than 10 days and he doesn't stay in a certain place for 10 days, apart from that means if someone travels for any reason, his work is not traveling, he's not a driver who always travels and his occupation is to travel. No, he's not a driver, but because of certain important reason, because of certain other issue, the person is traveling, and he's traveling and he will be staying in that place where he is going. He'll be staying there for less than 10 days. In this condition, he will be considered as a traveler. If he stays there for 10 days, he will be considered as a resident in that place, and there he will be fasting. For example, if I travel from here to a certain place, to another city or to another country, and I stay there for 10 days, I travel with the intention of staying there for 10 days or more. In this condition, it's obligatory for me, it's obligatory on me to fast in that place. But if I travel to some other city with the intention of 2 days or 3 days, something less than 10 days, in this condition, the person will not be fasting. It's obligatory not to fast. So someone traveled and he missed few of his fasts. For example, he was not present in his hometown for 5 days. Now he has to make up these 5 days. The person has to make up the fast of these 5 days before the next month of Ramadan. For example, if someone traveled in the holy month of Ramadan in 2021, right, in this year, then this person should observe the qada of those fasts that he missed this year before the Ramadan of the next year, before the Ramadan of the following year. And if he doesn't do that, it will be obligatory on the person to give the kafara, which is 750 grams of wheat or barley or any other food article that is used as a food to a poor person in place of every fast that he missed. For example, if someone missed 2 fasts of a holy month of Ramadan, and he did not observe the qada before the following month of Ramadan, it will be obligatory on the person to give 1.5 kg of wheat to a poor person, or 750 grams to one poor person and 750 grams to another such person. It will be obligatory. Alright, so if someone does not fast for a few days because of a legitimate excuse, why? Because he was traveling. Traveling is a legitimate excuse. He did not fast and he was not in his house eating and drinking. This is not a legitimate excuse, but he will be, if someone breaks his fast or someone doesn't fast while staying at home without any legitimate excuse, this person will give the kafara. That means he will either feed 60 poor people, or will either fast for 60 days as it was mentioned previously, right? Legitimate excuse is what? As if the doctor says, if the doctor doesn't allow us to fast, if the doctor says, a specialist doctor, not every doctor, a specialist doctor says that if you fast from the morning till the sunset, this will be harmful for your body, or this will that means you will be bearing, you will undergo certain pain that is unbearable, all right, or you might die. So if there is such kind of an excuse and the doctor says this, in this condition, yes, we will be listening to what the doctor says, and it's obligatory not to fast. It's obligatory not to fast. Fasting in this condition will be haram. If the doctor says that this is seriously harmful for you and you might see some dangerous things in your that means in your treatment, or your treatment will go completely wrong, or any such thing that the doctor says that fasting be harmful, in this condition it's obligatory not to fast, and it's unlawful if someone fasts. Similarly, if a person is a traveler, it's haram on a traveler to fast. Similarly, if a woman is in a state of hayd, also it's haram on her to fast, right? So these are the three, these are a few legitimate excuses. Other than these are not legitimate excuses. So if someone did not fast because of a legitimate excuse, because he was ill, because he was illness, so in this condition, if he gets well before the next month, before the next year, before the Ramadan of the next year, it's obligatory on the person to observe the qada of those fasts that he did not take, that he did not fast this month. For example, if someone was ill, doctor told him not to fast because it's too harmful for him, and he did not fast. So he did not fast for 30 days. And then after the holy month of Ramadan, he got well, and before the next month of Ramadan, that is before next year Ramadan, before the following year, he got well. Now here it's obligatory on the person to fast to observe the qada of those fasts that he missed in the previous Ramadan. But if the illness continues, the person was ill in this month of Ramadan, and then this illness continued for the whole year until the next month of Ramadan. Here it's not obligatory to observe the fast that was missed in the previous Ramadan. I hope the mas'ala is clear. Repeating the mas'ala again, that if a person is if a person in the holy month of Ramadan, doctor does not allow him to fast and says fasting is harmful and you must not fast this holy month of Ramadan, so he will not be fasting. And after that, after the holy month of Ramadan, in these 11 months throughout the year, if he gets well, he will observe the qada. And if he doesn't get well till the next Ramadan, what will he be doing? He will not be, it's not obligatory to observe the fast for these 30 days that he missed in the previous year. Why? Because the illness, it continued. In this condition, he will only be giving what? Giving 750 grams of wheat to a poor person for each fast that he missed. If he missed 30 days, then he will be giving 750 grams for each day. That means 750 multiplied by 30. this much of wheat he will be given to a poor person. And it's not obligatory that he gives all these things to different poor people. No, he can give the kafara of the whole month to a single poor person. That means the wheat of 30 days he can give to a single poor person. This can also be done. It's not obligatory to find 30 poor people and then giving 750 gram to each. No, but he can give the wheat to all of them in wheat for all of the days to a single person. This is what is obligatory. But if he gets well before the next year's Ramadan, in this condition it will be obligatory to observe the qada. Now, with regards to someone who has a number of fasts obligatory, for example, هذا وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.